Jesus gang, it is Preacher Pete and we're back with another devotional. We're going to be talking about why choose God. Like, why should you choose God? Why should you just not go do your own thing? This has always plagued me. As a human, we're all selfish human beings. It doesn't even matter if you are selfless. You have a little bit in you that are like, why should I just obey God? Why can't I just go do my own thing? And if you want my honest opinion, it's because with God is your best life. And it's not about the material things. Like, God can definitely bless you. I don't want to get that wrong with you. If anything this year that I have learned through trial and tribulation in my life is God can bless you. He can definitely bless you. You look at the Bible and there are plenty of people that do well off. They're beyond blessed. You look at David, you look at his son Solomon, you look at Abraham, they were very wealthy, they were very blessed. You look at Samson, Samson was healthy and strong and fit, and even when he messed up, he was able to fulfill his purpose. So I think the biggest question you need to ask yourself is, what do you want in this life? For a lot of people, especially younger, it's very simple. They just want success, they want a family and stuff. But I think it goes beyond that. I think that you need to think a little bit deeper about yourself, like what makes you you. Like for me, I love helping people. I just love it. I've just always done it. Like when I played sports, I even played professional video games for a while, and I brought every section of my life. I would love bringing the younger dudes up, making sure they were set up for success. And a lot of them killed it in life, and I'm so happy for them. But it's very soul filling. You don't get anything selfish out of it. You get I don't know what's the word, gratification. But when you do stuff for God, it's eternal, right? And I really realized this when I was personally in the hospital. And man, I actually want to share, I don't know if I have it. I'm going to get my phone real quick on the post, and I eventually will. But I wanted to make a short testimony, so this is going to be a little bit more story time, and it's why I chose God. There's things that happen in your life and it makes you realize, God uses them things to make you realize what life is really about, how much you took for granted. I'll get into my story, but personally, simple things that I used to could do, it's not that I no longer can do them, I just can't do them right now. And it makes me appreciate so much more time doing those things. And it's crazy because I think in our life, God has used me the most with time. And I'm going to get with that in this story. Okay, so I'm writing this book, or it's not a book, it's like my testimony. I don't know yet, because God has just done crazy things in my life. I'm a normal person. He's just worked on me, and I've always wanted to spread the gospel, but I never really have. So what we're going to do, it's called A Sinner's Second Chance, because God saved my life. And I'm going to just read it for y'all. The day I lay in bed, God placed a vision inside of me, clear, burning, and alive. A dream already written in heaven, even though I hadn't yet stepped into it. The pain wrapped around me like a second skin. My body shivered uncontrollably. Anything I ate sent me spiraling into shock. I felt like something was tearing me apart from the inside out. Gravity itself seemed heavier, pressing me on the mattress as if the world wanted to swallow me whole. Pain became normal, so normal that death felt like mercy. I wanted to give up. I wanted silence. I wanted the suffering to stop. And in the darkness, I found God. Every morning, every night, when my strength faded, I whispered to him, begged for him. Even when my body was numb to everything, my spirit felt his presence, warm, steady, unshakable. The only thing that I felt was his love. Amen to that. You haven't said amen, say it right now. Then my car engine exploded. It got totaled. My medical bills crushed my credit. Had perfect credit score, by the way, when this happened. My bank account emptied, and the person I loved became a stranger. In a single week, I lost my car, my health, my finances, my relationship, and a piece of myself. I broke, but God didn't let go. In the quiet, I heard him whisper, "Good things are coming, but you must follow me." And I felt this in my spirit when I say this. I felt this in my spirit when I say God speaks to you. He speaks through circumstances, situations, like when Jesus said on the cross, Jesus said before he died, "If there's any other way, your will be done." This shows that not only God or Jesus was human, but it also showed that he was like, man, whatever you require me to do, like, it's your will, God. There you go. And then so I surrendered completely. His peace flooded me, stronger than any chaos around me. When people gossiped about me not having a car, he reassured me. When my credit collapsed, he provided. When I lay alone in the hospital room with no family, no friends, he stayed by my side. I felt him hold my hand. When I lost love, he replaced it with something greater. Soon after, he blessed me with my first flight, my first big trip, completely paid for, and I realized something. He had been preparing me, refining me, teaching me to enjoy his presence, not only in the suffering, but in joy. It was the first time I experienced life with God, still living it. And what this means for you is, oftentimes we run to God when the problems are happening. God is a healthy God. Like a healthy relationship or a healthy work, like where you're at, you're happy when there's good moments. Like you go to people when there's good moments, right? You don't just go to people when there's bad moments. You appreciate success. You appreciate vacations. And this was the first trip of my life ever in my life where I was like, you know what, God, I'm going to pray through the whole trip. And it was awesome, by the way. He took us to every perfect restaurant we could have gone to. He lined everything up. We made all our flights on time. It was one of the best trips ever, and I was still sick. I just wanted to share that. Okay, months passed. I clung to the promise like a breath. I'm still following you, I would tell him, even though my heart was wavered because the promise hadn't shown up yet. My health hit a new low. Night after night, I sat for hours, half asleep, just to hear him speak. I'll never forget those nights. Visions came, glimpses of heaven, echoes of God's beauty, too bright for this world. And that's not exaggerating, I just don't get into that because people think you're crazy when you talk about God. But it's alright, because I love God and know who he is. And then came the night I begged God to keep his word. I cried, I yelled, I mourned, I poured everything out. The next day he moved. I'll never forget this night because I was begging God for a new job opportunity because I felt like God promised me something, and I think it's important to fear the Lord and fear God, like he's our Father. But I feel like if you feel, I personally feel like this in my personal testimony, and this is what I believe. If you feel like God has laid something on your heart, like a promise or like a new season of your life, I feel like you should ask for it boldly because you're placing your trust in him and you're depending on him to make it happen, right? Because when I do that, that's faith because I'm leaning on him and saying, hey God, I've tried everything, I'm obeying, right? It's your turn to show up. That's not testing God. That's placing my faith in him. There's a big difference when you go, God, give me that job or whatever. It's like, no, God, I've been working on myself in our relationship. I felt like you've led this person or this job to me. And then, you'll see it because God will answer and he'll bless you. Like when I walked into this job, everybody knew my name. And I haven't met one of them. So I didn't even put that in this. But here we go. The next day he moved. At work, I was given the biggest career opportunity of my life. And then he brought a woman on my path, given blessings. The job was everything I prayed for, and she was healthy, vibrant, gentle, a blessing wrapped in human form. but I carried pain in my body and in my spirit. I had healed, but not fully. I felt like God handed me gifts that I could not hold properly. Still, His timing is perfect. Now God, you choose God, right? You don't understand what's going on. So this last year I was handed so many great things that I prayed for. I suffered so much and then was handed these things, but I was still ill. And why I put that it's still His timing is perfect. The reason I put that is because God knew I would still be sick. God knew that I would be talking to somebody that He put in my life and I wouldn't be able to do certain stuff. Like I couldn't go out to eat. That's really important when you want to date somebody. And I put that in there because God knew that. And so when you're chasing God, you're not understanding what He's doing, but He's still making these promises. So I think this comes down to a lot reading the Bible, because you start to understand God's character. There's a lot of things that people did, like when the Israelites went to the promised land, they didn't know what's going on. God provided manna. He said that He would provide for them, but then they struggled and they complained and they disobeyed God, so they had to wait an extra 40 years. But God promised them everything. They're the ones that messed up. So in this little description that I'm telling you guys about, I know my God was working. I know it. I don't understand why I was still sick or going through these things when God handed me my dream job and a partner that was completely healthy. And when I mean God sent somebody, you'll know. You'll know because you're not looking for someone. You're not looking for that job. You're placing your faith in God. And that's why I said, come to Him and ask boldly for what you want. As long as you're aligned in His will. You can't be asking for things and just not caring about Him and that's unhealthy. But if you're seeking Him every day and you feel the presence of God, that's when you come to Him and ask. The first thing, if you are struggling with that, you need to just develop a relationship with God. And that's why you'll see some days I take time from this ministry because I'm like, I'm not close. I'm doing something wrong. Okay, let's get back on track. We grew close. I earned more than I ever had. I traveled. I tasted success. But my health was a shadow I couldn't outrun. I couldn't enjoy the blessings. I couldn't even kiss her because I didn't want my pain to become hers. When she leaned into me and wanted to be held, I pulled back. Not from rejection, but protection. I didn't stroke her hair, I didn't hold her hand, and it shattered me. I had everything I've ever wanted, but I couldn't enjoy any of it. Alright, this is chapter 2. Since we're doing story time, this is different, I know you guys. And it was, I don't understand. So what I just talked about, I don't know what's going on. I know God's with me, but I don't know what's going on. Eventually, she drifted away. We stopped speaking. Still, I saw her sometimes at church events, but the distance between us felt like a canyon. I believe God placed her in my life, so I waited. I knew how to be alone because I never put her in my life. God did. That's why I say that. And we need to also understand when God gives us partners or companions or people in our life. Sometimes they're not meant to be forever. They're meant to only be in for a season to teach you something. For instance, I'll give you an example. A super healthy person enters your life, you like them, but you've never been in a healthy relationship, but they teach you everything to be healthy, right? This was not the only woman that's entered my path, and I'm just being open with you guys on this because you have to choose God first. You can't choose a woman out there, and you can't choose a woman out there before God, right? If they send them to you, I have even more confidence and faith, right? But what God has taught me through this last year and a half, it's almost coming up on a full year, or 2 years. These people that come into your life, if they're meant to be, they'll stay, right? And God might take them out and work on them, and they come back, but that's not up to you. Your job is to grow with God and just become the best version of yourself. So, we're going to get to this. It still hurt because I always believed I could have done better, yet physically I couldn't. And that means don't beat yourself up when God takes someone out of your life. You can't, there's nothing you could have done. You were there just to learn. Then my dad almost died. The next day, my brother and I drove to Memphis at 3 in the morning, cutting through dangerous streets. We were not supposed to go where we drove. When I walked into the hospital, room, I saw my dad, and my heart shattered. Everyone around me broke, but I held a smile through the tears. The nurse asked my dad, "Do you know who this is?" He answered, "Those are my boys." I loved when he said that. Even when spinal fluid was rushing to his brain, he remembered me. And I thought, that's my God. Even on the cross, he remembered me. Dad stabilized for surgery. My brother stayed with him for first while I returned back to work, but things worsened at work. Then the surgery was delayed, so I went back. Those days gave me the most meaningful time I ever had with my father. I talked all night. He asked about the girl. I thought about her too. I lay on the stiffest bench that somehow became the most comfortable bed I ever woke up on. I watched his breathing slow, heavy, painful, and my heart broke for him and for everything I held inside. I talked to God all night. When Dad woke up, I told him everything on my heart. I apologized for every mistake. Every moment I hurt him. He looked at me and said, "Son, I love you." He didn't know any better. And in that moment, I learned what being a man truly is. Sacrifice, loving, without expecting anything in return, carrying pain without passing it on. I'm going to try to get through this, guys, because I really want you to hear my story. I prayed for him every night. Our family feared he wouldn't make it, but I knew my God. The surgery went well. My dad lived. Others were shot. I wasn't. I knew my God. I knew my father would live. And this is my last chapter, guys. This is summing everything up, so we're going to end it with here. Chapter 3, keep going. When I returned to work, deadlines crashed down on me. Stress mounted. Loneliness stalked me like a lion. I sought God harder than ever. I prayed through the pain, through the exhaustion, through the fear. Though one morning the company's budget collapsed, something else messed up, and I paid for the price. Someone else messed up, and I paid for the price. I was let go from the best job I ever had, but my God was still with me. The same peace He gave me when I lost love, my car, my credit, and my health wrapped around me like a blanket. I knew something greater was coming. Because God never takes without replacing with better. For 2 months, I applied everywhere. Nothing. Then God called me into ministry. I was scared, but I had no excuse, so I picked up this camera right here, and I preached. I didn't know if it was good, but I knew God wanted me to speak. And He blessed us, it says, with 300,000 views, but now we're at 330,000. So I just want to thank you guys so much. That's really on my shorts, but we've reached, 250,000 people, which is awesome. So thank you so much, guys. God didn't just take the bad things away. He can take blessings too, if they start taking His place. Money, women, success. They're good, but they're not when they rise above God. The thing that saved me most was my granddad's Bible. Sacred to our family, always wondering why it ended up in my hands. And this happened a week ago for you guys, and I know this kind of might sound crazy. I didn't believe what I'm about to share, but it happened. So I just thought it was really cool, and this is the end of this story/testimony. And then one night I dreamed of him. He's been gone for 10 years. I don't know if this is biblical, but I knew my granddad like I know my God. He looked healthy, glowing, timeless. His eyes were bright, his smile was warm, and I felt his peace. I told him how much the Bible meant to my faith, and I finally found closure. When I woke up, the dream felt so real, I thought he was still alive. I don't know everything God has planned for me, but I know this. He woke me up, He changed me. He taught me what real love is, what real life is. He showed me joy in simple things, breath, food, walking, sunlight. He taught me how to be a man of God. I don't just need to fit in this world. I just need to follow Him. All right. With that, I know that was a lot to unpack, but that's my story this last year, from October till right now. And I just want to say that I sleep with my granddad's Bible next to me every night, and I did that devotional the other day. That day I did that devotional is why I did it, because I had that dream. I don't think about him. I visit his grave sometimes at night so no one sees me. And that's something like I don't share to even my family. It's just because I didn't get to have the chance to talk to him as an adult. So I just go there to pray when I have really big decisions happening in my life. And I really felt it was awesome. It was probably one of the most amazing experiences in my life. It didn't feel real. It didn't feel real because it felt so real, if I could explain that. And yeah, God is working in my life, and if I could tell you anything why you should choose God is, you're not in this life to help to people please or to want others to validate you. I figured out myself this last year, and if I could say anything, it's not me, it's God. He helped me figure out myself, and yeah, there were some lows and there were some highs, but I'll tell you, if you follow God, there's no peace like He gives. There's no peace there's none. And so I hope my story just reached somebody. I feel like I could tell it better, but I did the best I could. But God has definitely worked on me this year. It's been a crazy roller coaster, but I wouldn't trade it for the world, because not only do I get to spread His gospel now, but I get to meet amazing people like you. We're not going to close it with a prayer, but I just hope that reached somebody. And if God has worked in your life, I just want you to comment like God is working, or put what He's working on. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. It's a little different, but I felt like the Spirit put it on me to tell you today.